Win in your mind and you will win in your reality. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Athlete Mind Podcast. I'm your host, Meghna Kulkarni, and thank you so much for tuning in. In today's episode, we have a very special guest with us, and she's a beautiful soul. To be honest, I've known her for a very long time, and her energy is infectious. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about health, well being, spirituality, meditation, breath work, and so much more. This episode is going to be divided into two different parts. Where part one, we will be focusing on the basic of our health, that is, our well being, our thoughts, our emotions, and we'll also dive into the spirituality 101. And in part 2 of the episode, we will be talking about the intense or in deep concepts about spirituality like Kundalini Yoga, breath work, and so much more. So, without further delay, I am thrilled to welcome to Athlete Mind Podcast, Rashmi Riker. It is so great to have you.
Thank you, Meghna. Thank you so much for inviting me here. This is my first interview that I would be doing for another YouTuber. So thanks a lot for this opportunity.
Great. So, before we begin this podcast, please would you like to introduce yourself to our listeners?
Right. So you have already mentioned my name, so I'll take the next statement for myself. So quick description, just a little about me. Yeah, I've lived in the 3D way of doing things where we study, we get our degree, we pass all the exams, get a corporate job, and that was that. But at one point, my heart just knew and it ticked the thing in me that this is it. I have to do something of my own. So I always knew that I have to do something of my own. So I did a lot of my childhood. I traced back in my childhood and I just exploring what I really love to do. So Zumba was the first thing because I naturally love to dance. And Zumba as a fitness program was like cherry on the cake for me. So I took the certification for Zumba and I started my own studio. Then again, that was a downfall because of lockdown, of course. But then the universe made it so easy for me that I again started this year in Jan 2022. Yeah, and since then, last 2 years, along with this, I was focusing more on my healing because things were really going down the hill when it comes to relationships, and I was a complete mess where completely unsatisfied with everything in my life. So, and even if I was looking for some meditation courses, trying Isha Yoga, trying other courses also, there was this loud voice from inside, which is like, do something on your own, create something on your own. So even if I had taken meditation courses online, through gurus who are aced and really good in their thing. But still, my heart was like, it made me drop even that. So I stopped my meditation course halfway and I was like, do something on your own was that thing. So that's how I came across Kundalini Yoga. I went through videos, did my research, read a lot about why feminine awakening, why awakening the Shakti within women is more important. So when I started practicing on my own the different styles of breath work, combining it with affirmations, that was something like a gift that came through nature herself. So my guru is nature herself, and she's been training me naturally. That's why I had to drop the idea of having a guru doing exactly what they're telling. Especially nowadays, I see that change in me where I tend to listen to more women than learning with men, like the male supports or guides. So it's been a tremendous change. It's directly from Shakti herself. I think she recruited me for getting things done in a very different style. Yeah,
Brilliant.
that's about it.
Brilliant. Like already you spoke from the start, from the time where you have had your traumatized journey, and then now that you are healed and you are still healing and you're healing others as well. The journey has been, of course, has been a roller coaster, but
Full of
nonetheless,
experience.
yeah.
Yes. full of
And
experience.
today you are helping others on the path of spirituality. So before we dive into the spiritual topic, let's talk the basic, that is how to take care of ourselves. You know, it all starts with thoughts, it all starts with emotions, it starts with knowing ourselves, like why are we feeling this, why are we feeling sad, why are we feeling anxious. So if you had to talk about well-being, if you had to talk about how important is thoughts and emotions in our well-being.
A lot. Trust me, all these years, if we do think from a medical industry perspective, things are completely upside down. It has everything to do with emotions. They just focus on the organs, the body, the skeleton and muscle, and the brain. But then the emotions, it's everywhere in your body. The emotional body healing and the heart, that is where we are not looking at, and that's where you would I have personally spent like more than 30K 50K to get my healing sessions done through medical solutions, but that was just nothing but draining of money, and I'm not getting my solutions. My emotions are not getting healed at all. Constant, that force that is like, I'm not okay with this. So my emotions were very heightened, very imbalanced. So yes, I would say emotion does make 90% of your daily lifestyle, because the brain does just, I would say 10 to 20%, but at least 80% has to do with your emotions. Because I was so damaged from inside, it affected my corporate work. I was not giving my 100%. Although I'm having the best opportunities, I'm unable to grab it because my worth that, yes, I can take this on myself. All those they were like so wounded and shoved down. So even if I had the best of my best abilities, I was unable to showcase that. The last 2 years, when I finally sat down and I told myself, that is it, I don't want to be a mess anymore. I'm done living life bit by bit, pieces by pieces. I want full, complete satisfaction. That's when everything to do with emotions, I was focusing only on those. And more to do with, collectively, more to do with respect towards women, being treated with high dignity. And all that starts happening only when you're healing yourself, and a lot of self-talk. So I think I enjoy being with myself more now. It in Indian culture, it's been a habit. When you talk to somebody, when you keep talking, people feel, "Ha, acha laga. I felt good after talking to you, you know." Fine, but even that is going to do very little. It's not helping. You reach a point where you are like, you have to sit alone with yourself, dig deep, and then find out, okay, why it's happening, how it is happening. Go through every emotion, pick the subtle energy, heal through that. Go through hell and heaven both, because you have to see, that is what I would say consciousness, because you need to know both good and bad and keep tuning yourself all the time.
Awareness of good and bad both.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were saying that before getting on the spiritual path, you have taken the help of science, you've taken the help of technology, and you did mention that it did not help you. So, if we had to stick to the
Very
same
true.
topic about emotions, uh, can you talk emotions from a science perspective, and then how spirituality helped you in understanding your emotions better, which science couldn't?
Feelings. Feelings. Science would can just give a nice talk, can make you feel okay. If there are people who are doing this work, okay, they talk good and you feel good. That is it. That's like talk therapy, and it ends in those
It's
whatever
temporary.
duration, very temporary. But then in that, even if they're talking well, they're doing good, we don't know what emotions they are going through at that point of time. So that sits on your aura field. This is what I had to figure out. That in spite of all this, why it's not working out for me. Because so even if I'm talking 10 good statements, words to you, but my feelings from inside are not, like I'm in my own other world where I'm having my own issues. So when I utter the word, that energy is sitting on you. That emotional charge is going to your aura field. That's where the whole problem is. Feeling.
So even if you went out there to a maybe science expert, okay, anyone, psychologist, psychiatrist, anyone that you went out there and
Yeah.
you took help from them, but somewhere you didn't feel that was working on you. And I think everybody has their own perspective, and that is where you started to understand that maybe their intention of the words that they were uttering, maybe it was somewhere in your aura and it was not really helping you heal somewhere down the line.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
because they are just putting at that point of time, let's admit it, we are easy to pick on negative feelings first. So even if they're saying good words, but they have something of their own that they're suffering. So that is the energy, the vibration which is going on other people's aura field. So it is like, that's why there's no satisfaction when you go to uh, most of the scientific, the psychology clinic and things like that. Hypnotherapy, yes, it has some effect. But again, still, I reached a point where I had to sit with myself. It was like no mercy zone for me.
I'm going to give a
Oh,
context to our listeners because they might have a little bit of confusion of what we are talking about. So what she's actually talking about is we are not against science or the technology. It is just that imagine as athletes or as teenagers or as human beings when we go out to seek help from a medical professional, and imagine that medical person is also a human being and they are going through a lot of issues
exactly.
in their
Yeah,
life, right? They are going through a lot of
true.
issues in their life, and when they are helping you, you don't know what their vibration state is. Maybe they are talking
Absolutely.
sweetly, maybe they are listening to you patiently, they are giving you a positive talk, but if their energy level itself is dirty, it's filled with negative thoughts, it's filled with toxic things, then they are
Exactly.
projecting that energy on you, and that is why you feel temporarily good. Am I right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You are on point because that's exactly we have learned to mask ourselves, but then still in the background, it's not great.
And I 100% agree to you in this that science, I think science, healing, or whatever people talk about, it is temporary, you know.
Its use has worn out, I would say.
Then the next level comes is where you go beyond science, that comes the spirituality. So let's talk about this, like the way you discovered that science was not helping for you, and then you started understanding the auras and you started going deep within yourself. If you can explain about that.
So, deep, can you come again, the last part?
Yes, when you understood that science was not working for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
You started going deep within yourself, like why is this happening to me? You started raising a lot of questions, you sat with yourself, and that is where you started studying spirituality, you started understanding auras. So if you can explain that journey, what did you feel, what were you going through?
So, my awakening process actually got triggered because I was doing Zumba 4 classes a day back in October 2019. So, my chakra centers opened up, and I did not realize why excess heat generation is happening. Uh, why am I feeling so tired when I'm supposed to be in a fitness routine? But then I think it was just supposed to happen. Now, when I look back, it seems like a plan for me that I had to move my body, move my energy around my body, and that's how things started shifting. So then I was more emotional back then, overly emotional, I would say. All those suppressed emotions were coming up, 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 and all the unhealthy actions that the karmic energy which was there, it was all showing up. So, and then I was at a phase where I met a person. We were supposed to be together, but things did not work out. Now that I look after all the work that I have done, I see that so much of it were my own issues. I cannot blame the other person. And the same thing goes to the other person also. So it was like we were supposed to face our own issues and not keep projecting it all the time to somebody else. And there was a moment where I felt like my ego is so low. And then I started just uttering the word of Shakti. I read the book, The Power of Shakti. Okay, if anybody wants it in her viewers list, please go through that book. It's amazing. Power of Shakti. And that's how I started talking to myself more. I started exploring the feminine side of me, like how I should treat my body, how I have to look at my body, how I should treat myself more in the feminine, sensual way. That's where I started getting answers. And for me, conversing with gods and goddesses is a fun thing to do. I wouldn't go to the religious part of it, but then I want to see them as my allies and my friends. So that's how my connection with Shakti started developing more,
Can
with
you
all
talk?
kinds of archetypes of goddesses. And that's where I would say, yes, that spirituality comes in there because I'm not much of a person who follows too many rituals. I try, even for my yoga class, I keep it as simple as possible because uttering mantras, it gives you a lot of energy, yes. Um, but doing the ritual part of it, I think instead of doing it outward, do it for your vessel that you live in. That's the only place you're living in. The day I realized and received all those downloads and the realization, the deep realization that came. So now for me, spirituality is focusing on me at least 70 to 80% of my life and in day to day. And then rest of the things, the more I change, now my relationships are better. My parents are fairly in a good health. I am receiving appreciation for my work, which I would not have never have experienced during my school, college, corporate job. No, there was such drought of that appreciation. Uh, so what I have been through and the knowledge that I have received through that Kundalini activation, spiritual awakening, the universal wisdom or the channeling that comes through, I think I would love to do it for many, many ladies. And that's non-negotiable. I think most women should prefer this. And more women are tuned and they're more emotional. So it gets easier for women to heal first.
Can you talk
Men
about
have to start really acknowledging कि हाँ, they are like emotions है.
दबा
Like,
के
I am
रखे
not
हैं?
emotional is the thing which I hear from most men. Then I'm like, no, that's running most of your life.
Can
So,
you talk about the book, The Power of Shakti? Like, what particularly in that book helped you? And if you had to tell to our listeners, a brief about that book.
okay, so it first talks about what are the issues that have happened for 2000 years or more than that. How women have been suppressed and taken away from their mystical energy. And the day you start focusing on yourself, the book tells about how you have to call all the power back and focus on you. It's, for example, if I'm encouraging you, I'm always motivating you. Sit and ask, have I done this to myself? This is what power of Shakti means, and surrendering into the feminine style. Because we women are multitaskers, and just observe the. I'm sorry for that. If you observe how women do work, we are like doing at least two to three things at a time. And the feminine consciousness, now that the influx of feminine energy is increasing on Earth due to planetary changes, it is going to be like next minute if you do one task, you are going to do something else. There's no concrete plan because that's how a woman is. She doesn't. A woman in full consciousness would not prefer rules and laws. She would rather converse with nature, just flow.
I
That's the point about that book. And I remember one more statement which says Sanskrit, Hebrew, Egyptian language, Um, yeah, these are the languages which helps you connect more with ancient wisdom. So yeah, we have to learn a lot of languages. Yeah.
So, if you had to talk about, now you spoke about Shakti, right? For our listeners who don't know about Shakti, they don't know masculine and feminine energy. Can you give a brief introduction to our listeners about it?
You want me to talk about feminine and masculine energy separate?
Yeah.
Okay. So, the Shakti element, she focuses more on the emotional aspects, more on values, values like integrity, respect, morals, good behavior, justice, freedom. A feminine consciousness in full power, as much as I have experienced so far. I wouldn't say I've learned, I've experienced it. This is what she prefers in her most raw state. More to do with emotions, more to be gentle, care, compassion, all of it. For masculine energy, the true masculinity is actually taken away. And this has affected women also to lose their true feminine quality. So the controlling dark masculine qualities have taken over the true masculine qualities like leadership, being protective towards his people, being loving towards his woman, and speaking with dignity. You just observe these days, it's more in the college school culture, right? Where kids bully each other, and guys are like, हाँ हमेशा मजाक करो, हंसी मजाक उड़ाओ, and that makes them look cool. No, the minute they start doing that, because when I sat with myself, even I was actually doing it just to fit into society, just to have more friends, please people. Even I was like, हाँ थोड़ा बहुत comedy चलता है, ये चलता है, वो चलता है. But when I see the subtle part of the energy realm, if I'm making fun of you in front of others, you don't like it, or okay, if you are too sensitive and you didn't like it, that sadness is coming to me first because I initiated it. So we have to be very careful with our sense of humor also. So there are very subtle things about how a man or a masculine or feminine energy must converse. And same goes with women. Women are trying to go to the masculine side. I was so grateful for Shakti's activation in my life that I was doing it the masculine way. Feminism is not true feminine empowerment. No, it's not. Being in your relaxation of gentle feminine energy, plus using the Durga, the Shakti power of slight aggression, slight anger. Anger helps you take actions. So when I used to converse with myself about Saraswati, Lakshmi, Durga, different goddess archetypes of Athena, Hathor, Isis, I was like, there is so much this side. We don't have to go the masculine way of doing all the time, keep pushing around. No, it will not even support. At one point, your body will just give up. And that's where all the diseases, these things start because we neglect our emotions. So it's all interrelated. They
Nice.
don't, yeah, they don't. I think emotions and spirituality is so interconnected because you're carrying it in your body. You go to any place for trips, travels, fun, but it'll go around with you all the time, right?
Yeah, you can't
So,
just leave your baggage over here and you think if you travel to another place, your baggages are done. You're still
no,
carrying them.
yeah, so true. Yeah.
So, if you had to speak about, you spoke about the power of Shakti and how it has helped you in your life. So, from a professional athlete perspective, now we are going a little beyond science, and I know this, I have done this mistake as a professional athlete. I don't compete anymore, but I also see the same pattern in all professional athletes today, whether it's international, national, states, all of them, as you said, the same thing, only doing, physically working and mentally seeking help from a science professional, which is not wrong, it is correct, you have to seek help when you need it, but that is again temporarily. They are not working on themselves, they don't know themselves, that is why they are seeking help from others,
Absolutely. Yeah.
thinking they can help them. But when we see the performance, there is either one tournament you're winning, but then other 2 3 performances are not there, then again 3 4 performances, and then like there is no consistent performance as per the analysis that has been happening. So I look at this pattern as, athletes, it used to work in the 3D consciousness, like you're consistently doing hard work physically, gym, itne ghante practice, it will
I
work.
know.
But
Yeah.
now there's a shift that is happening. So firstly,
Major shift.
Rashmi, I want you to talk about this major shift that is happening. And
Okay.
secondly, how can athletes inculcate this practice of Shakti in their life so that it can help them in their performance?
Okay. So first, a little bit about moving from 3D to 5D consciousness. So a little astrological perspective. In short, we are moving from 2000 years of age of Pisces, which was mostly about the masculine leadership. So the starting few years have been about good leadership of men, but then that went on so much that they overpowered women, and women were stripped away from their divinity, from their mystical powers, and then it turned into a dark phase where you know how patriarchy has damaged things around, and we are not supposed to go in a concrete world. It is going to shift. So now and when the planet Pluto would move fully into Aquarius in 2024, we are officially in the age of Aquarius. In that, it's going to be more to do with natural living, more to do with values of humanity, integrity, freedom, justice. Emotions are going to be considered primary. We want to be around people who think well of us, who speak good about us. So it's already changing. You and I experience the shift already. So the 3D is about neglecting your heart and doing what other people are telling you to do. Absolutely giving away your power to the world. Literally, it means like literally everybody else is running your life, but you have no identity of your own. It's just consumed and taken away. But now in Aquarian style, it's more to do with self-reliance, independence, creativity. So as an individual, how much of creativity you can contain in this body and put it out for good of humanity. They also say it is like raising your vibration to such level where you can birth new worlds or fantasies, right? If you experience the vision, the 5D energy is very light and relaxed, and that's why we feel like, okay, I don't want to do so much of workout. I'm still good if I maintain my diet. So that is why, and me coming up with my style of Kundalini yoga was this, something simpler, something lighter. So that new energy is washing away, washing through and permeating on earth. So this is the shift which is happening, and what a timing we are doing this podcast. On July 31st to 2nd August, there is this Uranus North Node conjunction happening. Watch around you. So many people are going through some or the other health issues because they have not healed their karma, they have not healed their emotions, and it's like going all haywire for somebody. But if people are still on the positive thinking side, on a positive feeling side, it's still slightly better.
I want to give a little context to our listeners about what you just said about 3D and 5D, and just correct me if it is wrong. So what she was trying to say is 3D is where you are in constantly rat race towards becoming successful, depending upon your external sources. Like for an athlete, you are completely dependent on your coaches, on your parents, on your psychologist, on everyone else, and you are just going and performing there like an animal, like that. You are just performing blindly. That is your 3D energy. But now,
Exactly.
as she said, there is a shift occurring on planet Earth. What it really means is that you do listen to them, but more importantly, you start listening to yourself.
Heart.
You're
Yeah.
listening to your heart, being aware of your emotions. So if somebody has told you to do it, but your heart, your inner voice is telling you not to do it, just listen to it, because there's a shift that is occurring. You have to go more deep within yourself to have a consistent performance or to have a high performance life.
Very
Am I
much
right?
so. Yeah, because
Okay.
you're then giving permission to higher conscious energy, be it Shiva energy or masculine. So I resonate with Shakti and Shiva more, so that I'm just using those words. They are basically the predominant feminine and masculine energy. They help you direct your success. So you're surrendering to that because that's running through your body. Just surrender to that energy and things are just working out for you. Because I see this for myself. Last 3 to 4 months has been very amazing for me and people around me. So yeah,
I can see that. I can see that on your face, the charm on your face, and the people that you're associating with also. I mean, like I get those like people are talking about you even when you're not there. You're behind your back. They're giving a lot of positive results. So I can see the great work that you're doing here. So the
thank
second
you.
question that was about the Shakti. How can that the power of Shakti, or you can say the balance of feminine and masculine, how can that help professional athletes in their performance?
Shakti, the word itself says energy. Seek her help. And one more point I experienced is the universe responds when you're very gentle and cordial. Be like a child and ask for Shakti to take over your body and help you through. And Shiva energy is to request. I at one time I had this hatred towards men, but then now that I'm working on myself, I'm like, oh my God, they have also done a lot of good work, right? A lot of parents, a lot of fathers have done excellent supportive, protective work for us. How did I miss on those things? So Shiva energy is more to do with protection, leadership, the doing, the action thing. So your action becomes you doing your daily practices. Yeah, and but then you're using the energy, the Shakti consciousness to help you motivate and drive yourself forward emotionally. Then the action becomes like very easy.
So I look at it as this formula, okay? So if you can have the balance of this, like Shiva and Shakti, as you said, Shiva is action and Shakti is more of giving you direction. Am I right?
Power and energy. You
Okay.
need, yeah, you need the vital force to go,
Also direction, like
right?
she gives you the direction to go in this particular way, do this, navigating
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Intuitively, yes. Intuitively and emotionally, yes. That guidance comes from feminine consciousness.
So that's what I feel like when you have the combination or well balanced feminine and masculinity in your self, you will be able to perform better. But more important than your performance is to be a good human being. When you are a good
Yeah.
human being, when you have healed yourself, you naturally have generated that aura which is helping you be your best when you're the best
And
version. Yeah.
right. And it wouldn't, when you have filled yourself emotionally so much with better words, better feelings. Now, for me personally, I see even if somebody would speak ill of me, it wouldn't affect me. But surprisingly, it's not even happening these days.
Why do you
That's
want
the
it?
fun part. So that much of energy shift has happened. So even if so my emotional body has become so expanded and better, so much healed that I would still feel good in my own bubble, regardless of whatever anybody says. Yeah.
So, we are going to end this part one of this episode with,
Okay.
just understanding yourself, knowing yourself, and going deep within yourself. So, just to wrap this entire episode up, you spoke about how important are emotions, you spoke about your journey, and you have also said about the power of Shakti and the balance of Shiva and Shakti, how that balance can actually help one live a life beyond their wildest dreams, I could say. That would be the
Absolutely. Because I think the dynamic of Shakti and Shiva, they're like kind of cool.
cool,
They
yeah.
don't want the same thing, the same thing happen. They're like, just do something else. We are bored to see you all in the 3D.
Okay, so before we end this part one, any last advice that you would like to give to our listeners?
Fill yourself with happy emotions first. Rest everything aside. Once you feel you have filled your own body, your own cup with a lot of higher values and positive vibrations of courage, inspiration, then the rest of the things are easy. You get better opportunities. So then it's an effortless thing to live life.
Mm. Okay, Rashmi, thank you so much for your time and your
Welcome.
knowledge. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. See you.
Okay.